Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? My name is Brandon Lane. This is EPSY 7210, the final exam, my oral presentation for Dr. Grantham, summer 2018. So just to get started here, 1 second. So I'm just basically going to just touch upon two goals or objectives from the course syllabus and discuss how I've met these goals through the course experience. And I'll just discuss that further. So the first one, recognize prejudice and oppressive institutional structures in education that marginalize gifted students from culturally diverse backgrounds, specifically race, class, gender, and language issues. A big part of this, and we touched upon it a ton, were the testing biases and strategies. These strategies are definitely geared toward the middle, the middle to upper class demographic that has a stability home, stable home, no issues. This does not take into effect that those people that live different actually their brain mapping and their programming starts to become different. Um, so a lot of these kids, you have to think about in lower income situations. A lot of them have tough backgrounds or tough, um, grew up tough. And I know certainly the kids that I deal with every day that holds true for them. Um, they're not worried about the Pythagorean theorem. They're concerned with, hey, do I have enough food, or are my lights turned on? And some of them do have great families and great parents, but a lot of them there's no support as well either, as far as academics are concerned. So I think these students, they just have different needs, and I'm not talking about like special needs, but the way their brain is mapped and the way they've been conditioned. Um, the standardized testing method may not be a strong point for them. But I guarantee you, if you change the assessment and made it more critical or a nonverbal type, they'd score off the charts, because their soft skills and their ability to read people and do all these other things that isn't tested in the standardized method, that stuff, it's off the charts. And again, this holds true for those students that may come from immigrant families, or maybe immigrants themselves, where English is a second language to them. But just because they struggle with that, doesn't mean they're any less intelligent or any less gifted or creative. So again, we need to talk about teachers being aware of different types of gauges of giftedness, and then help try and change the assessments. Fix all that, and then we should be in a better place. But that's one thing, or one area that hit home for me, or that I thought was really important, that I wanted to stress. And second, develop a plan to use multicultural approaches to address home, school, community relations that support gifted programs and empower students and their families. My situation is very unique. I'm new to educate. I'm new to gifted learning as a whole, but I'm new to the education field as a whole as well. Um, so for me, I don't actually have a classroom that I'll be teaching this year, a class, or that I'll be teaching this year. But what I would do when I do get my class, in about a year, I definitely want to harp on the internet, or computer or social media savvy parent. I feel like the internet, everyone's on it, and it's a way. The internet doesn't, um, it holds no biases. I feel like it's not, um, you know, it doesn't hold any prejudices, regardless of your culture. Twitter, email. I know a lot of Hispanic and Latin families, they use WhatsApp. So that's kind of something that's universal. And again, there's even like translation apps, things like that. So I want to foster like a modern classroom that can kind of cross all barriers, and something that's easy for everyone to understand and be a part of. And again, that's just another way. It's something they can do. A lot of parents are always on their email or always checking their phones, and that helps creates a safe and collaborative environment. I think it does a lot when a parent knows, okay, I'm active on this. I can see what they're doing. I can give my input, give my feedback, and the teacher sees that. So I think that goes a long way. So that's something that I would look to impart. And again, I'm doing stuff in my own personal work besides this, but that's just something specifically I do when I get my own class. So now just to talk about um, my two areas of growth that I thought were important to me, areas of change or growth, and what I'm doing. So parental engagement. I did my facilitation on this. It was a piece by Barton. It was really great, and it just talked about how true engagement doesn't just mean involvement. It's when parents go above and beyond. Um, they take initiative because they want to and they're not told to. So, not, like a parent-teacher meeting is something administered by the school that parents just are kind of told to go to. But when it's organic and it's like I said, a parent is responding to my feedback that I give, constantly throughout, regardless of their student's performance, whether it be good or bad. Um, and they're coming back with ideas and things they want to implement, and they're involved. Like that's good engagement. So that's something I hope to foster. I think that that's extremely important. Something that I want. And then recruitment and retention of multicultural educators and minorities. Um, I think just a societal, or just maybe it's a sign of the times. A lot of the top talent in every field, whatever industry it is, they go to the private sector. Um, there isn't much glory in being, in the public service sector. Being that servant leader. If you're a talented, if kind of like myself, if you're a talented individual that did well in accounting or business, you're gonna go right into Manhattan and you're gonna work on Wall Street. You're not gonna work for the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. Yeah, same thing in the law. You want to work for a big shot law firm. You don't want to kind of, be a public service or a nonprofit. So I feel like it's the same. We're losing a lot of talent as far as multicultural educators and just teachers in general because it's deemed as not a lucrative career or flashy. But I think education, it's not something you'll get rich off of. You can make a great living, a great honest living. Every day is going to be something different. And it's just a great field because you're helping people. So I think we need to do more as far as that. Just that in people's heads. And I think schools can do that, number one, by the people that want to be involved in the school, just presenting them with some opportunities and letting them know, that they're appreciated and what they can do to help in the building. And if they can end up teaching, that's great. Also, and the same holds true for minorities as well, but also I think educators, I think 80% of teachers in the U.S. public school, they are Caucasian and the most of them are female. Um, I don't think teachers are as bad as like the male nurse stigma, but there definitely is a thing with male teachers. Usually they'll teach like gym or PE or something like that. So I think as men, we need to do more to vouch for the field and get other guys involved. And again, the school has to help us with that. There's plenty of men and fathers involved in school things, extracurriculars, whether it be debate club or band or whatever it is, and they need to have opportunities presented to them. And me personally, UGA has been great to me. I've only been here for a semester, but I love this school. The teachers that I've gotten to know, they're absolutely brilliant. So I feel like I will definitely do my part as far as facilitating, um, you know, uh, volunteering or donating, whatever I can or whatever I can do as far as recruitment is concerned, especially for minorities and then male teachers as well. Because I think representation does matter, and when you get a school building and a faculty base that's kind of reflective of the general population of our country, the way it is currently, um, and your student body, you'll have a better teaching environment. So I think that's key. I think that's really important. So again, I'll do whatever I can as far as when I'm done with the program as an alumni. Trying to recruit and just preach and vouch for this profession that we all love and we all think is so important. So that's what I can do on my part. And again, I touched on my parental engagement, my views on that. As far as networking, again, my situation, I know Professor, I think he alluded to it kind of in the beginning of the semester. He kind of talked about like everyone's fight or like everyone's dance is different. Everyone's fight, for equity, it's going to be different, and mine is very different from pretty much everyone's. Um, so I guess a career changer. I'm not. I have like no. I don't have a class. I'm not going to be teaching a class this fall. So as far as a classroom experience, I have none. But mine is interesting. I'm coaching, so my personal work is going to be done with those 50, 14 to 17-year-olds I see every day. It's Cedar Shoals High School. It's a Title I school. It's here in Athens. So, um, money, and status isn't a thing for these kids. A lot of them come from pretty tough and dysfunctional backgrounds. So my work is going to center on that. And my fight, I know this class works about like multicultural gifted, but a lot of it is just generally just taking academics more seriously for me. So I can't jump ahead and talk about gifted programs with these kids and the staff, the faculty there in regards to my 50 kids. Getting them to care about education is the most important thing. That's step one. Again, it's baby steps, and I'm realizing my fight, and I'm mature enough to realize that, again, for the purpose of this class, I know we're talking about multicultural gifted, but that's not the case for me. We have probably out of 50, we probably have about 7 or 8 that are in honors and AP, and the other 40, a lot of them have been in summer school. I think we probably had about 25 kids in summer school. So a lot of it, again, it's just getting them to just enjoy school and want to start doing the right thing. So my personal work is going to center on the current principal. It's a guy, his name is Derek Maxwell. Amazing guy. He's really focused on athletics, and he pretty much gives us free reign. So what we're doing as far as parental engagement, our work, we're doing a lot of things in the community. We just had a golf tournament the other day at Lane Creek Golf Club, and that's over in Oconee, I believe. I'm not too sure. I think it's in Oconee. And again, we had a bunch of the kids come there volunteer, and that just goes for one thing, just to show them, hey, there's a world outside of Athens. And if you do the right thing and do everything we're telling you, you can live, like this, live a good life. You don't have to make it to the NFL to take care of your parents and, to have a little money. You can have a regular job. So that was just one thing, just showing them, and just showing them different things, and it's bigger than sports and football. So they really like that, and that's one thing we're doing to kind of get on their side and preach to them and do right by them. Our head coach, he talks about, if they're not taking care of their academics, then we're not doing our jobs. So sports is great, but it ends for everybody, and they need that background and they need that education. So what our principal does, he's backed us. So he's pretty much given everyone on the football team and on an athletic team, in their block, they've got a free period every day for the weight room. And our coach, we've taken it a step further. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you don't get to lift weights and you might miss practice. You're going to go to study hall instead. So we have that during the day, and then in the mornings we watch film. But if you're not taking care of what you need to do, again, you're going to have a study hall. And it's only about 30 minutes in the morning, but it's something. So that's what we're doing. It's baby steps. We can't talk about gifted programs for the majority of those kids. We want them to like and understand the importance of education, number one. And again, it starts with them and then their parents. So their parents were at the golf tournament, and we're trying to get them to understand, like, hey, this football thing, it's great. I know this is the South and football is king, but your education, it's got to come first, and it's the most important thing. We're trying to tell them, a lot of them, everyone wants to play at UGA or Tennessee and stuff, and that's all great, but it's not going to happen, for a lot of them. So we try to preach to them, go to a good academic school that's going to, give you the most money, give you the most scholarship, and do well so you can have a good life. So that's what we're doing, is to change the culture and their map up to emphasize schoolwork. And then also we're working with a young men's workshop at the Thankful Baptist Church. We do that every Sunday. We bring the team there. And again, we're trying to change their makeup. Parents are welcome as well, but it's really just for the kids. I think a couple moms are going to be there to provide food and stuff for, after the church services and stuff, but it's for them. We're going to talk to them about being a man, how to deal with women, how to conduct themselves in public, and etiquette skills and financial literacy, things like that. And we're trying to just change the culture and just put in their brain, that school is important, how to do the right thing, how to stay out of trouble. And then once that happens and things are going well, I think after this year, our principal, he's going to be very happy with the changes, not only with our record on the field, but with the kids' attitude, and as far as them, their grades are going to improve. Like, we all know this. So he's going to be happy about that. And then it's such an informal relationship. I can kind of just talk to him, just man on man, kind of just real informal, not let him know all the stuff that I know about gifted education, and just pick his brain and see what he thinks about, the current processes he has in place as far as like teaching referrals and things like that, as far as gifted programs, how we can get more of our athletes in those type of programs and classes. And then if I disagree or we don't find, common ground, I can kind of give some suggestions in, a very kind way, a very non-assuming way of what I've learned, and try to change those assessments or referral processes.